Assalamu alaikum and good morning, class 6. How are you all? I hope so you all are fine. And I also hope that you all will be taking good care of your health and studies as well. So now let's start today's lecture with date and day first. So today is Thursday, 24th of December 2020. And yes, today the topic which we are going to discuss is about statements and exclamation in indirect speech. This is your grammar chapter number 20, which is in your Understand and Communicate books. So I'm going to open it and I'm going to show you the chapter in your books. So this chapter is on. Yes, here we go. So here this is chapter which is on page number 184. This chapter is your grammar chapter, lesson number 20, statements and exclamations in indirect speech. So firstly we will discuss about statements, exclamations and indirect speech. And after the discussion of this whole chapter, we will move towards the back exercise of this chapter, which is here in front of you. So now let's start today's discussion, which is about statements and exclamation in indirect speech. So this topic has itself three subtopics. The first one is statement, then exclamation, and indirect speech. So let me tell you first what is speech. Speech is basically a way of reporting something. A way of talking is known as a speech. So speech is of basically two types. The very first type is direct speech, and the second type is indirect speech. So now let us discuss these two types, which is of speech, direct and indirect. So direct speech is basically a way of reporting the words of a speaker as it is to somebody. For example, if I have to talk or if I have to convey my message to this person, I will convey my message directly to him, then it will be a direct speech. But if I have to convey my message to this person, but my message is being conveyed with the help of this third person, this would be an indirect speech. I have to convey my message to this one, but my message is being conveyed with the help of this person to him. So the way of expressing my talk to this person is changed in indirect speech. So basically, direct speech is a speech in which actual words of the speaker are reported as it is, whereas the way of reporting the actual words of a speaker is changed in indirect speech. So this is the main concept between direct and indirect speech. Now the next thing about direct and indirect speech is that direct speech is basically a speech in which actual words are reported. Indirect speech is a speech in which way of reporting is changed. Words will remain as it is. Just way of reporting will change. Got it? So the very next thing about direct and indirect speech is that in direct speech we have comma and inverted commas, whereas in indirect speech comma and inverted commas are replaced with that. Now let me give you a one example. For example, if I say he said, comma, inverted comma started, I am ill. So this sentence, this full sentence is a direct speech sentence because in this sentence we have comma and inverted commas, and in inverted commas actual words of a reporter are quoted or enclosed. The example of an indirect speech is he said that he was ill. So now what we have done over here, we have replaced this comma and inverted commas with that in indirect speech. The way of reporting actual words of reporter is changed over here. So this is the basic difference between direct and indirect speech. Now, there are some few steps which we used to follow while moving from direct into indirect speech. This topic is basically about direct and indirect speech. So, for this purpose, we have to understand some of the key points, some of the rules to convert direct speech statements into an indirect speech statement. So, the very first step is I am going to write over here an example and I am explaining you with the help of an example. So, the very first example is he said, like the way I have said earlier, I am ill. So, this is a direct speech statement because we have comma and inverted commas in it. Now let me tell you very first thing and very important thing. This whole sentence has two parts. The very first part is before comma, which is known as a reporting speech. Reporting speech. And the part which is enclosed in inverted commas is known as a reported speech. Reported speech is a part in which actual words of the speaker are reported or are enclosed as it is in inverted commas, and here is a reporting speech. So we basically change reported speech in indirect speech. So this is the main thing which you have to keep in mind. This the very first thing to change direct into an indirect statement is that we have to replace comma and inverted commas with that, and I have replaced over here. The very next thing is we people are provided with persons of pronoun in reported speech. So now let me tell you that there are basically three persons of pronoun: first person, second person, and then we have third person of pronoun. These are persons of pronoun. Persons of pronoun. And we all know that pronoun is a word which is used to replace a noun in a sentence. So this pronoun has three persons. So the first person has I and we. Second has you or yours. And the third one has he, she, it, or any name. So, whenever first person comes in a reported speech, it changes according to this subject of reporting speech in an indirect statement. So, this is the first person here. I will change this according to the subject of reporting speech and it will become he in an indirect speech. If the second person is in reported speech, then it will change according to the object. For example, if I have a statement, he said to me, this whole is reporting speech. This is subject of reporting speech. This is verb of reporting speech, and this is object of reporting speech. So, second person of pronoun will change according to the object of reporting speech. It will change according to subject, it will according to object, and the third person of pronoun will not change, it will remain as it is, no change. So it basically forms a word which is son. It means whenever you have first person of pronoun in a reported speech, you will change it according to subject. If second person is over there, then it would change according to object. And whenever we have third person of pronoun, it will not change, it will remain as it is. So this is the concept about persons of pronoun. Now, after replacing comma and inverted commas with that, we have changed person of pronoun according to the requirement. Then we have to change tense present in the reported speech. So this M is simple present tense, and simple present tense changes into simple past tense. So the simple past form of M is was. He was ill, and then full stop. Along with this, now let's have another example. if I say she said I have studied this week, inverted commas enclosed. So now in this statement, the very first thing is that we have to replace comma with inverted commas. We basically change tense of reported speech whenever reporting speech is in past tense. If reporting speech will be in present or future tense, then tense of reported speech will not change. It will remain as it is. But now here in this statement we have reporting speech in past tense. So we are going to change this whole statement of reported speech. So the first thing is to replace comma inverted commas with that. So I am replacing and it would be she said that. Now we have first person of pronoun here and it will change according to the subject of reporting speech. So I will become she. She said that she. Now have studied. Have studied. This studied is verb third form and this have and this verb third form are used in present perfect tense. Because in present perfect tense we have helping verb has or have with the verb's third form. So this is present perfect tense and it will change into past perfect tense. So the helping verb for past perfect tense is had with the verb's third form studied. So now this is the first thing to replace comma with that. This is the second thing to change persons of pronoun, and this is the third thing to change your tense present in reported speech. Now we have an other specific word which is this. So this will change into that week, and this is an indirect speech statement. This one is direct. She said I have studied this week, and I have changed this into indirect. She said that she had studied that week. So we have to check the whole statement very carefully, and after that we have to take one step each to make our indirect statement proper and clear. So first step is to replace with that, commas with that, then persons of pronoun, then identification of tense and their conveyance into their respective tense. And after that, if any specific word along with tense or any other thing is given, then we have to change that word into an indirect speech too. So this is basically all about direct and indirect speech. The next two terms we have in this topic is statements and exclamations. So basically we all know that statement is a kind of sentence in which we use to declare or state something, and exclamations are always used to show our emotions, our expressions, our feelings. So this chapter is basically about direct and indirect speech, in which we will be given with statements and exclamations to change them into an indirect speech.